to be honest, was not too much anymore. That's right, and cake.
Is anyone ready?
Hi Daniel, congratulations on the win yesterday. I'm just wondering if the last two games have given you renewed optimism that you can stay up this season.
Yes, there's no replacement for wins, so for especially to win points and also in such a massive game against top-class opponent who was also in terms of results on fire before, and then to win also in this manner that I think everyone agreed that was a well-deserved win. This gives also always confidence. It's good for the mood, good for the table, good for the whole belief. Of course, also Man City away was performance-wise a top-class result with sadly a late heartbreak, but each every good result is positive for the mood. But I was also convinced before that we have everything what is needed, and with many good performances also during the whole season. And for that, we are always optimistic and positive.
In terms of the mood around the club and the fans that this has brought, because there was the hope had kind of drifted off a bit over the last 4 games before that. Just wondering if this feels like a turning point for you and the team this season.
No, it's normal that the mood drifted a little bit because we've lost the games before, and it should always be like this, especially for such a massive club with such a huge fan base. So in times when you win games, you have to be a bit over the moon, and if things are not going in your way, then the mood shouldn't be too good. That's quite normal. It's just important that we who are working in order to represent this club on the pitch can be also leveled at this time, so we are never over the moon after the win, and also not too down when there is perhaps a result that we don't like. We're always self-critical, and even after a win yesterday, we have a few points when we also spoke today about what we can do better and have to improve. But this is quite normal for such a great club anyhow, and we can deal with it.
Up next is Liverpool at Elland Road, who've lost 7 of their last 11 away games. What are you expecting from them? What kind of challenge?
Yeah, still a top class side. They are the reigning champion and fully deserved. Last season they were excellent. Of course, also lots of fluctuation and also special situations in the summer. And it's even for them, like for each and every other team in this league, over the course of 38 game days, you will have sometimes a period when the results don't go in your way, when you don't have your best performance. I think they had a really, really good start, especially in terms of results into the season. And yes, and a bit more challenging and a bit more difficult period. It's also not easy when you also have the international duties and then to integrate also many new key players into the game. But I have no doubts at the moment. I think 2 points away from the Champions League positions in this league. I have not one doubt in my head that once we come into the crunch time period of the season, they will be back and will fight for the Champions League and also for the title and also in international competition. So each and every team has ups and downs. So we spoke before Aston Villa anyhow, so it also perhaps not the best start into the season right now. Just check the table, they are sitting in position 3, are also meanwhile in the title race. So each and every team will have also sometimes a period of 3, 4, 5 games when perhaps performance-wise, result-wise, it's not top class, but we still face a world-class side with world-class players who have done exceptionally well over the course of the last 18 months. Also, like I mentioned, also challenges for this season, also very set moments, and sometimes also not easy for a group, but I have no doubts that we have to be like in the last 2 games against also top class sides, Man City, Chelsea, to be back at our very, very best. And also we need Elland Road in full voice and also at the very, very best to give ourselves a chance to make a tight game out of this, and then also hopefully to get a good result out of it. So tough week for us, but we're also in a good mood and I will also be prepared.
Do you have any fresh injury concerns heading into the weekend?
Yeah, no fresh injury concerns. We have definitely Daniel James and Sean Longstaff out, so it's a bit more like a bit longer term after this game. Of course, we need to take some late decisions, like always when you have such a quick turnaround. We have a few players who are a bit more major doubt. Lucas Mecha with hamstring problems after the last game. We have to assess him if he is really available. Dominic Calvert-Lewin with some calf problems after the last game. Also question mark behind his availability. We have also players with lots of load, not just in this game, but also over the course of the last games, especially in the positions where you have to invest a lot. So like the wing-back positions or in midfield positions. So we have to see who will be fully recovered. So for some players, it's of course a bit easier once you're used, for example, to have this this load 3 games within 7 days. So Joe Rowe and Isna Badu, they're a bit more used to it, but also the players who have just joined us in the summer, for example, also perhaps also from league who didn't have the intensity like the Premier League. For them, it's perhaps even a bit more difficult. It's perhaps positive that we have also shared the road so far. Anton Stach and Gabi Gudmundsson were not too much involved against Man City. I think this perhaps a bit helpful. Yes, with our Tanaka, it's a bit more tricky because he has played both games many minutes in a position where he had to invest a lot. So hopefully at the moment he's in the ice bars. At least he was there before I joined you here in the press conference. And we have to see how quick they will recover. So we need during this period the whole squad, and especially in a week when you have 3 games against opponents where you always have to go over the limit. So in this type of games, we have to go over the limit in order to be competitive. I just got the statistics from our sports science. Chelsea had yesterday their second highest physical output during the whole season. But so it says also what they have invested, but we have outperformed them in these terms. So much, and also the lads were unbelievable on it yesterday. And when you have such a quick turnaround, you always have to be careful. Also, like with the experience of the manager, also like, when I speak to the players, everyone will say, no, I'm ready to go. But also like to watch them in training, how they behave, and if they are really ready to go, and also to speak with our medical department, with our sports science, with our physios, with our doctors. There will be some late decisions who will be ready for the squad, who will be ready for the starting lineup. But whoever will be on the pitch, I can guarantee that he gives everything for Leeds United, exactly like in the last 2 games. And we tried to be there with a knife between the teeth again for this game.
Daniel, is that the hardest part, that you've got everybody putting their hand up wanting to play? And they might have an injury, but you might have to actually, no, it's not in your best interest to play, much as I want you to.
Yes, first of all, I hope, of course, that I get green lights from our medical department. That's the most important topic. There are a few concerns, like I said, so the biggest question marks behind Lucas and Dominic's availability, but also it's important to use the experience a bit, like how recovered they are, not just from the physical point of view, but also from the head anyhow. So it's lots of load, and for that, again, of course, during this period, I speak perhaps even a bit more with our medical department, our sports science, than I would do when we just have 1 game per week, because on a professional level, you should be able to play 1 game per week. Otherwise, we would have a problem. But I think it's also important, on the one hand, to trust also like the objective data. So we have blood tests and recovery status anyhow to pay lots of attention to this. Also to trust a bit the experience and the gut feeling of the manager, and then to find the good balance. So it's normal that during this period we would rotate a bit more than we would do during a normal week. But we have also shared the load also during this week a little bit, and I also expect that there will be also perhaps some players in the starting lineup who didn't start against Chelsea. Yes.
Joe Rowe, on the opposite, he's played 100 games consecutively in the league and playoff games. It's a long time since anybody's done that for Leeds United. What I want to know, Dan, how has he matured? Because he wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? He's very open with his feelings. But has he matured as a leader for you? And would you class him as one of the better centre-halves now in the Premier League?
He's my warrior and also key player for us, and always there was an unbelievable attitude, and it says a lot about him, and especially nowadays to achieve this 100 games in a row is amazing on this level, and you just can achieve this if you're super professional in all aspects. You look after your body, you look after your recovery, after good nutrition, good sleep, and in these terms, Joe is a role model, and always motivated, always there. Still improving also as a player, but we spoke about there were also even a few doubts about him once we signed him and spent by our standards also a proper amount of money for a championship, for signing in the championship, but we were 100% convinced that he would also play an integral part then hopefully in the Premier League, and this is what he's proving right now. I think he's there with lots of consistency and excellent performances. Of course, like always, there are also one or two games perhaps where he could have done in this or that scene a bit better, but Joe is a really key integral part for my and our plans and a role model, and yeah, fantastic achievement, and he should be very proud of himself, and I'm definitely very proud of him.
Daniel, it's no secret that Liverpool has struggled at the back with Konate and at times Van Dijk this season. Ideally, you'd want to have two strikers fully fit. Now, that might not be the way you go on Saturday. So how do you exploit, with what you have or what you might not have, how do you exploit what appears to be a weakness in the Liverpool side this season?
Yeah, but I wouldn't label it that with Konate and Van Dijk, they're struggling at the back. So they are, for me, also outstanding, world-class defenders. And even the best in the world have sometimes, also a game or whatever where you don't have your best performance. And if you then play more or less in the last row, then it's punished pretty quickly. So as a striker, you can sometimes lose the ball and everyone... no one is really too much aware about it, but if you're there with one little mistake in the back row, then it's quite often punished and criticized. So I have no doubt we face also top class centre backs. They have proven this over many years, and also about this season I have also seen them playing many games tonight. Also like Real Madrid, it's not too long ago, clean sheet win against Real Madrid. Also West Ham was a clean sheet win. So don't want to compare Real Madrid too much with West Ham anyhow, but I also like to say on Champions League level and on league level, they have delivered clean sheets. And again, the good thing is what we can take also out of the Chelsea game, that we've proven we can score more or less out of every situation. We can score out of set pieces, we can score out of counter-attacks, we can score out of possession, we can score by creating through the center, over the wings. And this is what I like about my team. We've scored 3 goals against a really good defending side, Chelsea, and could have scored even a few more. And of course, I would prefer to have all players available and all players ready. But whatever we choose, which base formation we choose, if we go with 2 strikers, 1 striker, 3 strikers, whatever, I always back my players also to create something and to score goals. For me, it's important, again, that also against the ball, we are rock solid and defend well. And if we do so, then I know we are always capable to create chances and to score goals. And this is whoever is available, also what we want to prove and do then on Saturday.
There was no hiding the chairman's smile last night. And you mentioned January just briefly last week, and it would be nice to add, it would have been a good time to ask him about January. Have those plans started this week?
Yes, perhaps you're right, but during this week I'm definitely too busy, so I have not 1% energy to waste during this week to think about what could happen. There are also so many games that it's also important what happens in terms of injuries or long-term injuries. Fingers crossed that nothing will happen. Depends on also how the players deliver right now in the upcoming games, where we think there is something what we can improve. I've spoken also in the summer about like what we would have liked perhaps to sign. This is also not gone away, but right now during this week, my spotlight is just on Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. Not too much what happens from the 1st of December. So yes, in the background, of course, the club is preparing and we are preparing what is necessary to do, but it's not the time during this week to speak about it. So right now the focus is just on this upcoming games, and right now also home game against the reigning champion.
Thank you. Sorry.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Mo Salah has gone 6 games now for club and country without scoring. The games have started with him on the bench the last 2 games. Is there a worry maybe in the back of your mind that someone, and you would hope not Leeds United, will soon get a backlash from Mo and he'll be back to his best?
Yes, because he's a world-class player with world-class numbers, and when such a player has then more or less like a bit difficult period, it's always like it's then pretty dangerous, because the more games he has, more or less without a goal or without an assist, the more likely it is that he will score then or assist anyhow. So we just have to make sure that the spell lasts, hopefully then one more game day longer, but it's always the same. So also even Erling Haaland had a period right now when he was not scoring, or someone is then, it's then always in the spotlight because it's so unusual. Or we spoke few game days before about my strikers, anyhow right now scoring many goals. Also Dominic had a period when he didn't score, and everyone was questioning a little bit. I have no doubt that in the end Mo will be there. He's a world-class player in the end, definitely double figures in terms of goals, assists by the end of the season, and I'm pretty sure he will be there with many goals. He's, I think, still their best goal scorer in the league for them. So I have no doubts that he will deliver unbelievable things also during this season. He has done this during whole his career, and he's also proven this, especially also in the beginning of the season. So we just have to make sure that, hopefully the dry spell lasts one game longer.
And you spoke about the players getting confidence, certainly from the second half at City, and the entire match against Chelsea as well. Did you get some extra confidence as well? Did you need any extra belief in yourself? You don't come across, I don't think, to us as someone who doubts himself ever, but was there ever a moment then that perhaps there was something tinkling in the back of your head?
Well, it's always important to overthink things and also to be self-critical, also as a manager. So that's for sure. But I'm 100% full of belief on what we're doing, and also in my lads, and I back my lads, and we up and were prepared for also challenging and a bit more difficult times, like I mentioned even before. Each and every club, even the teams who are fighting for the title, have sometimes a more challenging and more difficult spell. And it's always like to overthink things, and there's no harm in doing this, and also to speak about things, and also if needed then also to change sometimes things, as it's more or less a positive sign if you're willing to do this. But it's also important that you're not like a flag in the wind, and for that, no, I always had full belief in my boys and the way we approach it and what we are doing, and it's still also there. But also like for each and every coaching staff member or whatever, each every good result is also good for the mood and for the confidence, not just for the players or for the outside world or for our supporters anyhow. So there is no replacement for wins, and for that, we were all happy with the win. Thank you.
Hi, Daniel. I think everyone's in agreement that the back three last night played tremendously well. In terms of setting up the back three, I think it's understandable why Pascal was on the left of that three. What was the thinking behind putting Biol in the centre and Rodon on the right? Because it worked really well.
Jaka has played the whole last season more or less in Italy in the back three, and he was always playing in the central position. Joe in the build-up has played so many games when we played with two centre-backs more or less in the right position. It is then also more or less also in this spot in the build-up position right now during the game. So obviously when we play with three, perhaps he's a few yards more shifted to the side, but in a very similar spot. And for that, I wanted to use this more or less Joe's experience more or less in this position also in our possession in the build-up, and also Jaka's experience was also for him then right now back in the starting lineup. I wanted then to let him play in a position where he has also used to play and also played with lots of confidence in Italy last season. And that was the thinking behind it. Of course, Pascal then with his left foot was also clear that he would play the left role.
Lucas Perry's had a bit of criticism about his distribution. He's played 9 games now. What have you liked about what you've seen, and what do you think he needs to improve, and particularly on his distribution?
Yes, what I like is that I think he was involved in all our clean sheets so far. This is most important, and also his name says goalkeeper. He should keep the goals away from our goal, and this is the most important topic. anyhow. But it's also like his first season in English football, and he has also to adapt a bit, of course, intensity in the pressing, with all respect, but is in this league even a bit higher than he was perhaps used to be. And yeah, there's also no hiding behind the fact there are a few areas in this game where he needs to improve, but he knows this. We were also quite open and honest about this, and he needs to step also in this terms. But the most important topic is also like he make sure that he stops more or less the strikes and is good, and hopefully when the crosses are coming in and also makes no major mistakes anyhow, and saves and good opportunities for the opponent. But there's definitely also some areas where he has to improve and can improve, and it also comes a bit like with experience. So also don't think that we will make a number 10 out of him. So that's definitely for sure. It's not like he will play like Diego Maradona on the ball. That's definitely a fact. But there's still something where he has to step up and has to improve, and he knows this.
Hi Daniel, you mentioned last night you've obviously built your career on possession-based football. You know, it's something you crave. You love to have possession of the ball. That kind of dominance on the pitch. And obviously last night was 29%, I think, which is the lowest Leeds have had since, ironically, Liverpool came to Elland Road in 2023, April, the season of relegation. So does the dominance last night in every other statistic and how you looked dangerous, as you say, every time you turned the ball over, there was always something you were threatening. There was always somebody available for a pass. There was always some sort of threat you were putting on the Chelsea area. So does that show you that might be the way to get the best from these group of players, into cede possession in some way and play in that way?
If you just see the raw statistics, sometimes it doesn't tell really the truth. You always have to have a look deeper into it, what is behind. So, for example, I remember my first season in the Premier League, Man City was by far the best teams in defending corners. And this was the raw statistic. And you're thinking, why is it? They have so many smaller players and not built for defending set pieces proper. Yeah, the fact is they never concede a corner against them. And then you also concede in the end the lowest amount of corner goals against you. And this is also a bit like how to interpret statistics. Overall, it's more likely the more you have the ball, the less goals you would concede, because if you don't score own goal after own goal, as long as you have the ball, the opponent can't score. So for that, even against the top sides, it's important to have lots of possession as much as possible. Yeah, I think it was one of our, not secrets, but important skills away at Man City, why we were so competitive, that we were there with over 40% possession, not like all the other teams before. They were there between 25 and 35. We had lots of the ball, especially in the second half, and this is why we were so competitive. This game, you're right, but it has to do with a few factors. So first of all, we were in lead more or less during the whole game. And it's quite natural, once you go in lead, at least after 5 or 6 minutes, then of course the team who is fighting for the title are even more dominant and push you even a bit more back. So I think it had to do with more or less the development of the game, and would have been a different scenario if we would have to chase the game, or if it would have been a draw anyhow, but we were leading more or less during the whole game. And the second topic was also, I wouldn't say it was part of the plan to have that little possession, because we wanted to go as often as possible into the high pressing. In the first 10 minutes, it was just us. I think we had the first 10 minutes nearly 70% possession, had already during this period 3 corners, and scored goals. And it was more or less like a power play. I would have preferred to do this over 90 minutes. Yeah, but sadly, it's not possible over 90 minutes. It was clear that there would be also spells when Chelsea is more dominant. And we opted then yesterday in this base formation, in a 5-3-2, it's a bit more difficult to jump out of when you're sitting deeper, because before we were playing against the ball quite often a 4-5-1, and then you have 5 players to cover the whole width, and it's a bit easier to jump. When it's more or less just 3 midfield players, they have a different task. It's more or less like, okay, they need to lead the opponent a bit more to the side, and to allow perhaps possession also more or less like on the side when they can't hurt you that much. So Chelsea had lots of possession in the first half after 10 minutes with their left centre back more or less, but they were not developing real pressure out of this. And if you're then 1-0 or later on 2-0 in lead, and the possession of the opponent, the statistic increases, but you're still in control of the game and you don't allow them one chance, then I'm not addicted by the possession statistic. Then it's more or less like, okay, it's part of the plan. So yes, I like to have the ball, I like to be in possession, but it's also fair to say we are playing in a league where we are not there with the best individual quality. I think it's also not disrespectful to my players, and for that we have to adapt in different games. And this was yesterday also part of the plan. I would still have preferred sometimes, especially in the second half, to have a bit more possession, to control the game, to recover also a bit more. This is, for example, a point where we can improve and have to improve. So sometimes the long ball was not precise. We put the ball too long, then more or less to throw in for the opponent. So speaking about long kicks anyhow, so was definitely a factor. We could have been better, but I think it was not the secret. Okay, means less possession means we win the game. You have to interpret it even a bit more, and it would still be that if I can choose, if I have the ball or the opponent has the ball, I would always choose that we have the ball.
Jadon and Gabby, of course, in the spotlight a bit more with a formation like last night, with them having the entire flank to work with, and both incredible with their energy up and down the pitch, defending and attacking. Do you think, as their understudies, James and Sam, can be as effective, or are you going to need to play Gabby and Jadon every single game to sort of maximise this particular shape?
Depends always on who is ready, who is recovered. Depends always on the performances on the training pitch and the games before. There's also competition, so it's never guaranteed that Gabby will start each every game. It's never guaranteed that Jadon starts each every game. But if they perform like the other night, then of course it's more or less. Then you're not tempted too much if they are fully recovered and ready to go to rest them. And if, for example, Sam Byram or James Justin delivering such a performance, they would have more or less a chance to play. During this period, it's also important also to share a bit the load. So I was quite happy that also James Justin played many minutes, also like it's so important for his rhythm. But for me, it was also clear after Man City, after his first start, it was a quite intense game for him that he wouldn't start the game against Chelsea. And also for Gabi, it was clear we wanted him ready for this home game, and for that we wanted to manage his minutes away at Man City, for example, a little bit. It's a tricky week, and it will be a bit easier when we just have one game per week. And if you just have one game per week, then it's all about the competition and who delivers. So this is professional football, and yeah, let's see who at the moment. Yeah, if they perform like this, then there's not much need to overthink too much, if I'm honest.
Thank you. Cameras off.